Today, we're going to start the session with a conversation with Osayi Igharo, Managing Partner at Ripple VC. Osayi, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Osayi, let's start by introducing our audience to you as well as to Ripple VC. Tell us about yourself as well as about the mission and vision of Ripple VC.
Yeah. So Ripple Venture Capital is an early stage firm, and our focus right now is partnering with exceptional founders across the continent of Africa who are building companies that are solving solutions or building solutions in data discovery and diagnostics, data security, process automation, and operational intelligence, which covers competition monitoring or space intelligence. It's more of a catch-all. So we're a small fund, $10 million fund, and so we're looking to the main goal here is the grand vision here is to propel the continent of Africa to the forefront of innovation, and we're doing that by partnering with the absolute best entrepreneurs on the continent and working with them and giving them access to corporate partners and a large pool of high-quality mentors to help them build their businesses and grow and add value.
Can you talk a bit about what's going on in Africa? So since you are investing in this space in Africa, there must be activity in Africa.
Yes.
Like how many such entrepreneurs are there? And when you say Africa, where do you see which continent? Which country? What kinds of areas are the concentrations of entrepreneurs in your category?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's a remarkable level of activity in Africa today. And just over the past 4 or 5 years, it's grown exponentially. Depending on the data source that you look at, either over $1 billion or over $2 billion was raised for the first time on the continent last year, from maybe 100 to about 250 deals, and in 2018, I believe it was about half of that, about 500,000. So the growth is just been ridiculous over the past few years. Quite recently, especially in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of focus on the fintech space, made popular by a few larger fintech startups. So we're seeing a lot of those. But the areas that we choose to focus on are products that are AI-driven, and where we see the opportunity is in drug discovery and diagnostics, and of course process automation, and absolutely data security, and like I mentioned, operational intelligence and related areas.
So let's drill down a little bit on each of those areas. Fintech, of course, we know about what happened in Kenya with around fintech and so forth. So where are the startups, the fintech startups? Where in Africa are the fintech startups?
Okay, so yes, so I realize I missed the question. So where most of the startups are based right now, South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria. Those are easily the 3 largest ecosystems on the continent. And we have emerging ecosystems in Ghana, in Morocco, in Egypt, in Uganda, and Ivory Coast and Cameroon. For fintech startups, majority of them are in Nigeria, out of Nigeria, like the majority of the larger ones. And their focus isn't necessarily mobile money, it's more infrastructure based, because the infrastructure connecting the financial world and Africa hadn't been built. So these companies basically build their companies around solving this problem, and they've been very successful at it.
And you talked about healthcare, drug discovery. Elaborate a little bit. Is it clinical trials? Well, where are you seeing the activity around drug discovery?
Yeah, so this is also really, one of my favorite areas. It's really exciting. So it turns out that a lot of the genetic codes of Africans is then incorporated in drug manufacturing. So the bottom line is drugs would be a whole lot better, not for Africans alone, but for the whole world, if more of the genome was included in the creation of these drugs. So there's a lot of opportunity there in gathering this data and being able to use it using advanced technologies like quantum and machine learning to figure out how to extract useful information from that to build better drugs for humanity, all of humanity. So there's an incredible amount of opportunity there.
But are there startups that are working on this problem?
Correct, yes, there is. So one of them
And where?
is 54 Gene. It's out of Nigeria. So, but they're in, I believe, San Francisco right now. And they're tackling this problem. So they're one of the genomics companies on the continent tackling this problem today.
And these are, you're saying the concentration is in Nigeria?
Sorry, say that again?
The concentration is in Nigeria. The activity is in Nigeria.
It's by far the largest country on the continent, and with a really young, tech-savvy population, Nigeria today, I would say, in terms of future outlook, in terms of just the potential, is absolutely the strongest ecosystem. There are just so many entrepreneurs here solving so many problems that it's a significant player on the continent. Sure.
How many entrepreneurs are operating in Nigeria right now?
Oh, that's hard to say. It's a country of 200 million people. That's difficult to say.
Just to give you a proxy, in India is a country of 1.3 billion people, and I think there are more than 10,000 startups operating in the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not easy to get to those numbers. 2,000,
Right.
3,000, 5,000, 10,000 startups, these are not easy to get to those numbers.
Yeah, that's correct.
In America, 70,000 to 100,000 seed financings are happening. So this is a country of 300 million people, and the numbers are completely different. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of work from the ecosystem to get to those, critical mass of 1,000, 2,000 startups.
Very true, very true. And that's why we are working very hard, not just Ripple VC, but many of the other venture firms and angel networks around the continent working very hard, very mission aligned to strengthen the African startup ecosystem and elevate it, to be a proper global player.
Yeah. So all of you VCs operating on Africa are focusing primarily on Nigeria then?
No, not necessarily. There's a lot of very strong focus in South Africa as well. South African VC firms focusing on South African companies. And there are a lot of African VC firms focusing on the continent. But again, just because the majority of the companies come out of Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa, it's
That's the corridor.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to find VC firms focusing on just those three countries.
Right. And give us maybe a couple of examples of companies that you have invested in, and tell us what is it that about them that is interesting and exciting.
Yeah, so I can't disclose too much, but there are a few interesting companies I can say a little bit about. One company enables businesses build and deploy AI-powered apps with facial recognition and object detection, APIs in the cloud and offline. Their ability to do that offline is really significant because not every device is always connected to the internet. And as you can imagine, connectivity is not, it's not, well, Africa is a pretty big piece of land. So it's difficult to assume that the entire continent will be covered with internet.
But what is the application of this technology?
Sorry?
What is the application of this technology?
So they're using it for there are a number of different areas that they're applying this tech. So one of the easier ones is security, right? Security and in warehousing movements of equipment and robots.
That should be doable because those tend to be connected. If it's a B2B application, that would be the connectivity should not be an issue.
Yes, so those applications, yes, require. So you meant for the offline one? Well, the offline one would be maybe out in the fields, out in the rural areas, maybe trying to capture data on just. Try not to give away too much, but it just depends on, some businesses apply these technologies in more remote areas where access to internet isn't readily available. The other area is in.
If I were this company, I would just scrap all that and focus on the B2B security application and just work on that, and that should be, you could build up to a certain amount of revenue with that, and that's all I would do for the moment.
Yeah, that's my favorite aspect of it for sure. But they have, a bunch of customers who are beating down the doors and, looking to cater to them as well, which is fine. So there's that. And there's another company, this one's out of South Africa, really. The first one's out of Nigeria. The second one's out of South Africa. And they use consumer purchase data to provide local retailers and market insight providers with predictive analytics, shopper profiling, targeted marketing, and price optimization. And so they're building this out and doing tremendously well. So these are all seed stage companies, very early stage.
So on the flip side, are businesses in Africa buying technology readily? Because you're giving all these examples of B2B software. Are the buyers ready? Are the buyers buying? Yes,
they are. They are. So these companies are already generating revenue.
Good. Great. All right.
And they have very massive fan bases. In fact, there are companies. One of these companies, their pilot client ran with them for 6 months, and before the 6 months was over, is looking to renew for 2 to 3 years. So they're a business.
Great. Very good. Very good. It's exciting to hear about what's happening in Africa because, yeah, and it's a ballooning population, so it should be over the next decade, there should be an enormous opportunity coming together. So very, very cool. Well, Osayi, thank you for your insights on the African market. I hear that you have to go right after this discussion.
Yes.
So thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.